My name is Dean LeCrone. I'm from San Diego. I'm a cartoonist. You feel free to look at my work during the talk if you want to step up and get off your feet. You can look at all my stuff here, the books and the cartoon artwork. I live in San Diego. I work full-time as a chauffeur. I work part-time as a cartoonist. And the chauffeur job, sometimes it allows me some downtime during dinner charters and things like that to work on a job. So I'm getting paid while I'm getting paid. So that's always fun. I got my notes here. Organized chaos. So I grew up in Nebraska, small farm town, and I've been drawing since I was like 3. I'm self-taught. I was just locked myself in my room for hours and hours every day, every year, up through my high school years, and just absorbed all the Marvel comics and Mad magazines that I could derive from. Influences like from Marvel would be like Jack Kirby or Sal Buscema, and then influencers from Mad magazine would be anywhere like Don Martin, Jack Davis, guys like that. And my dad was very supportive. He was bringing home all these magazines and comic books for me throughout the years. And then in high school, I was all into art, and I was in band. Eventually went to the University of Nebraska at Kearney, UNK, and studied art and theater. Got into theater, did a lot of theater. The art department was sometimes kind of boring. Everybody's introverted. Nobody wanted to talk to each other. I go to the theater department. It's like hugs and whoa, slow down. So, but I balanced both worlds. And so I worked as an actor for a few years. I was in a touring theater company after college over in England and Scotland and Wales with an original production. Moved to San Diego in 1987, started doing theater. The cartooning was on the back burner for a while. I ended up as a show performer, entertainer at SeaWorld, where I was there for 10 or 12 years hosting and narrating a lot of the giant stadium shows. I was a pirate mime for a sea lion and otter show called The Pirates of Pinniped, a play on the Pirates of Penzance. And I was the host of the Shamu's House of Douse night show and various other productions. City Streets, which was sort of an Up With People, Sesame Street style set, and like dancers and acrobats and bicyclists and skateboarders. And I sang and acted in that. And then over the years, I got back into cartooning more and more and more. I was in the Army National Guard for 6 years, so my art skills got me out of some heavy-duty field work where it's like you stay in the cool office with the lieutenant or the drill instructor and draw up some graphs for a class we're teaching, you know. And so cartooning got me out of some hard lifting in boot camp and in the Army National Guard. I worked at the Comedy Store for a couple of years in San Diego, which helped with, I do a lot of humorous cartooning. And so the Comedy Store, I did a little open mic night for 2 or 3 years, but it was like comedy 101 school of how to craft a joke and format it. And all my material, I kept thinking, this would be great on page more than it's working on stage. So it really helped to develop that into a style for single panel gag cartoons and comic stories. I worked for Old Town Trolley Tours, driving and narrating historical tours of San Diego for about 7 years. Hi girls, have a seat, wherever you'd like. I'm a registered professional with Comic-Con, and I have been for quite a few years. In the corner, this is Alan Freeman. He's my creative collaborator. He's filming today, and he's had decades of graphic design experience, publishing comic book work in the industry, inking, coloring, drawing, and he and I have worked on countless projects together in publishing and cartooning and comics and film, which I'll get to later, and video. He helped co-create my steampunk character, Dr. Peepers. And so I probably wouldn't do all the things I've done until then, without him.
You said you were certified at Comic-Con?
Yeah, I was just getting to that. I'm a registered professional at Comic-Con. So if you work professionally in the industry, you're like, hey, I'd like a complimentary pass to Comic-Con every year. Well, register as a professional, show us your work, what have you done for the last 3 years, and then we'll decide or not if you can be a registered professional with Comic-Con. They give you a 5-day pass every year. So a number of years ago, I started submitting stuff because I was working more and more. And so every year I get this 5-day pass. But you have to renew every 3 years. You got to show that you're still working in the industry. So that's what that means, yeah. And then I was president of the Southern California Cartoonist Society for a few years down in San Diego. We would meet once a month, cartoonists for a dinner, and we'd have a guest speaker, and could be locals, could be national cartoonists. And I did that for a few years until I got tired of being president and tired of being in charge all the time. I was like, this is a lot of work. But it was a wonderful group. We had some amazing, amazing cartoonist members who I'm still friends with. And I'm a member of San Diego Steampunk Society, which is a group we get together for picnics and conventions and things. Sci-Fi Coalition is a group of science fiction fans in San Diego, which has a huge cosplay presence. We do a lot of charity events. You know, they show up these charity events as superheroes and science fiction characters, and they love it. We get invited to a lot of charity events, like 5K runs, you know, for marathon charity runs and things like that, and we show up.
How much do you guys get? I mean, for a guy?
It's just all voluntary, yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Artists always at work.
Yeah.
All the charity.
Right. So
we give paintings.
Yeah.
We draw,
So yeah, the Sci-Fi Coalition, we just donate our time to these charity events. Yeah, it's a fantastic group too. If you go on Facebook and you type in Science Fiction Coalition, just amazing people. We're fans of science fiction, but the cosplay seems to have taken over the group in a good way. Yeah. So I took some notes from some people I know in the industry and some people I don't know in the industry as to what is cosplay. Because so cosplay or costume play is the art and practice of portraying a fictional character through the use of handmade, modified items, bought costume pieces, or a combination of both. The practice and term first originated in Japan, and the word cosplay can refer to the actual costume of the act or the act of dressing up. If you've seen convention footage or seen a picture of someone dressed up as a character, then you've probably seen a cosplayer. To many, it's a lifestyle. Some of this I added to. Most of this is from comicshop.com, Cosplay 101, A Beginner's Guide to Cosplaying by Nerdily, who is a wonderful cosplayer. But cosplay is, to many, is a lifestyle or even a profession. Many cosplayers take the art of cosplaying seriously and dedicate enormous amounts of time and effort to fabricate an ensemble wherein they can portray a character to the fullest extent. So cosplay, but it just has developed, like exploded in the last 10 years. A number of years ago at conventions, like Comic-Con and various conventions around the country and around the world, people started showing up. I noticed this. I was an exhibitor at Comic-Con as a cartoonist for quite a few years. So way back in the day, in the late 90s, more and more, some people would show up in a costume. Haha, that's funny. But now it's like this big thing. And people are just at home creating elaborate, incredible, insanely magnificent costumes. But so it's become this thing at conventions, science fiction conventions, comic conventions, where people show up as their favorite superheroes, their favorite manga characters, their favorite sci-fi characters, their favorite video game characters. Things can be purchased, and things can be made, things can be borrowed. You can ask an artist to make something for you, and it's just become this gigantic, wonderful little subset of comic conventions. Star Trek conventions. Cosplay is everywhere now. You know, it used to be back years, like in the 90s, when I would exhibit at Comic-Con. I'd go, "Oh wow, somebody in a costume! I got to get a photo of this," and it'd be just a basic costume. You know, like they went to parties it or something, but it was fun. But like I said, now it's developed into a whole thing where there are cosplayers who literally have booths at conventions between the artists. Ivy Doom Kitty, Tara Cosplay, what's her name? Tara, yeah. There's so many of them now, where they're getting hired to be part of conventions. Like they're becoming special guests, and they do panels, and people show up to see. What is her name? Tara Cosplay. She's this wonderful young lady, makes her own costumes, and she has so much fun, and she's become a special guest at different conventions. So it's developed into this thing where they have fan bases. Instagram is huge now for cosplayers because it's all visual. Instagram's visual, and the cosplayers just put out, and they have fans. So, and even if you're a beginner cosplayer, and the cosplayer world is very accepting, even if you're a beginner and you just like, well, I just bought this costume. Everybody's like, cool, that's fun. You're having fun, and you're embellishing that character. And it's like, well, I don't have the build that Bruce Wayne and Batman has. Well, who cares? You look great. You're like the frumpy middle-aged dad Batman. People do that kind of stuff. People mix it up. Like Avengers Endgame came out, and suddenly all the conventions, everybody saw fat Thor. Thor in Endgame was kind of overweight, and he just didn't want to be a hero anymore. And so then all of a sudden the conventions, all these guys like, I'm not in shape, but I can be Thor. And they were showing up dressed like heavyset Thor. So it's totally inclusive of whatever you want to do. There's no rules. And did you have any other questions about that, or?
I mean, there must be sub-niches out there, like steampunk
Yes.
is one,
Yep.
and then furries.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
an artist, I'm also an artist activist, so I
Sure.
want to educate me as much as
There's
I can.
tons of niches, tons.
So
There's
you
niches
said
within
superheroes,
niches.
You said
Everything,
steampunk.
yeah. For the oldsters, does anybody remember the TV show in the 70s, Kolchak, Night Stalker? Darren McGavin, in the 1970s, he wore this interesting suit and tie and just a cap. And somebody dressed up like him at Comic-Con this year, and I recognized it immediately. I said, "You're Kolchak the Night Stalker from the 1970s TV show." He's like, "You're the first person to recognize me." Yeah. And he's all into that stuff in the 1970s. So really, at this point, anything goes. Yeah.
So the ponies and the stuff too, is that cosplay too?
Yeah, like
the whatever.
the furries or whatever.
No, the furries, yeah, and then the pony, magic pony, or.
Oh yeah, those are almost kind of I'm sure those people still show up in general at the general conventions, but they almost have their own conventions of their own. Yeah.
It gets so big that there's
Yeah.
cultures that are doing their own.
Like
shows.
Alan and I are at Comic-Con every year. We see everything. So I think at this point, anything goes. Yeah, I mean, I saw, what's that? A guy with this year at Comic-Con was dressed like Stan Lee, an older guy, and he looked just like Stan Lee. And somebody dressed as Deadpool riding a unicorn. Like, it looked like he was riding a unicorn. The creativity is off the charts. People are mixing and mashing genres.
And you can,
like,
because
right.
It's visual, you
Yeah,
can
right.
put it on Instagram
It's very visual, and people are like, "That's awesome!" Like, I'm Captain Marvel, but I'm a mermaid. People are mixing it up like that. And
what's called manner punk.
What is meta?
It's steampunk with Victorian manners and
tea and tea parties. Oh, I also want to thank Amber for inviting me to speak today. She's the representative here at the library. And feel free to step in front of the camera and wave to the audience. Amber, come here. What's that? Oh, yeah.
She's a cosplayer?
Yeah, and I'm going to get to steampunk now because I know Amber from the world of steampunk. She made this dress. She made this beautiful dress. She makes she makes things too. And this is part of her fairy costume.
This is what I would call manner punk.
Manor punk costume.
Because this is it's actually a Victorian pattern that I have actually worn this out to historical Civil War events. And at first glance, people will look at me once in a while, they'll start, something is familiar. And it's when they realize I've got the next generation Starfleet color block where it's black on the shoulder and the science officer blue. And if you can see on the collar here, I've got 3 pips for a science officer. But this is a full 1873 buster dress.
7 minutes.
And I sewed this thing. Most of it's by machine and some of it is by hand.
That's a bustle?
Oh, I forgot. You're on mic.
Oh. Okay, and when I'm wearing the architecture for this dress, it actually sits out about this far. You could sit a tea tray on my rear. And
then she has this amazing, I've seen her in her fairy costume.
watch out for the disco, kids.
It's 1978 already, again.
That this is what I wear as part of my steampunk Tinkerbell look. And I can control the wings for different speeds. I can't tell you how many kids I've had just absolutely charged up and going, ee! So,
Yeah, so you can build stuff like this, and then
How
you.
did you get into did you get into
And-
the cosplay?
I got in because I liked history and because I liked Renaissance fairs. But if you look closely, this is cut lucite. My husband did this for me and wired it up. But this is 2 pop bottles painted with acrylic paint. And this is a Nerf weapon, a Nerf ball cut in half because it had a nice, very architectural look to it. So the most expensive thing was about $10 for the wings.
And then you cut these. You shape these and cut those out like
Yes.
that.
And they're made out of lucite so they could take some bangs. Not glass. This is literally the hardest, toughest thing we could put on my back so that it wouldn't get crushed. Because if it's lightweight plastic at Comic-Con, you will bump into somebody and your delicate little thing will go crumple.
Thanks, Amber.
Thank you. What I want to show you here. So I want to show you some of my cosplay, which I've barely kind of touched upon here. So, so I've also worked as an actor. So I come from a place of cosplay where I'm a cartoonist and a chauffeur. I'm doing all this other stuff. So I don't always have time to build stuff or the money sometimes. Where I have friends who just like Amber, they're just building stuff. They buy Eva foam and the lucite and they're building. So I would probably have time more for that. But Alan had a meetup group up in Riverside and said, we're going to do a DC Comics photo shoot. Why don't you be the Joker? I said, oh, I've never cosplayed, never portrayed the Joker. Okay, so I said, well, I'll give it a shot. So he bought a Joker costume, and then we put the makeup on, and I just went to town. I go into I do a deep dive into my cosplay characters, Edward Scissorhands into Joker, and Beetlejuice, which I'll show you. I do like a deep character dive where I try to completely emulate what the character and their walk and their mannerisms and the voice and everything, so that it reflects the costume, which I always hope look amazing. But the costume's usually purchased and sometimes added to by friends who have other items I can use with the Joker and Edward and stuff. And we'll just show you Beetlejuice first. Alan took all these photos, and this was in Los Angeles at I Like Scary Movies, this moving traveling exhibit where they created horror movie sets, and you could go in and be part of the sets. And here is me as Beetlejuice with Lydia. And the makeup was done by Adam Kyron Mariel, who's this amazing FX guy who lives out in Temecula, we're friends with. And he came over early in the morning, and he did my makeup. And it's an alcohol-based makeup because I was going to be sweating all day. And he just did and then he took the wig and made it look better and glued it to my forehead. And this place was amazing. They recreated sets from all these movies. Beetlejuice, The Shining, Nightmare on Elm Street. And they did, it was spectacular. And then of course, Alan created Lydia, whose body has been, she's reading the handbook for the recently deceased, and he created the little blood.
Go up there, or do you have
Yeah, the show, I think they brought the show back. I heard it was so popular, they brought it back to LA because it travels. It was there for 3 months back in the summer. It was in Hollywood. I'm just gonna go through these. But look at these sets that they created. So
Being you hit the light.
oh yeah, can I bring the light down, folks? And thanks, Alan. I forgot about that. And our Lydia was great. She lived up in Los Angeles, and Alan called her that morning because she's worked with him in some photo shoots as a model. Hey, we need a Lydia. And she's like, done, I'll do it. And she went and bought stuff to wear that day. That was taken at our house in Oceanside. And this is by Alan. I was just improvising the character and walking like Michael Keaton and doing my thing. And then these are at I Like Scary Movies. And there.
Where do you think cosplay is gonna go?
What's that?
Where do you think it's gonna go?
I don't know. I couldn't believe where cosplay has gone at this point.
Yeah.
Cosplay has gone to the point where there are cosplayers who are superstars and have massive followings on Instagram and social media. And they all come from different backgrounds, you know? Not all of them are actors or models or anything. They come from all different backgrounds. I'm amazed at the creativity that what's going on now. I don't know. I don't know where it goes because it's like there's stuff at Comic-Con or WonderCon that I've seen that looks like it was made in a Hollywood studio, but it wasn't. It was made at this person's garage or something. Yeah. And so I'm going to go through these kind of fast because I have a bunch of other things to show you. So The Shining. That was at the apartment. Alan did a great job with this. He added a spider in Beetlejuice's hand, and Adam's makeup really worked. And then.
Question: is this from the real movie?
No, this is from an exhibit, a traveling exhibit that was on display up in Hollywood called I Like Scary Movies, where they created the actual set designs from different movies, and you could walk through it. They almost didn't let us in because I was in a costume, and they didn't want people with makeup on because there's some interactive things, and they didn't want makeup and sweat on some of the things and ruining some of the art pieces. And then I begged them, please, can we drove up from San Diego. And they were like, so we got to meet the guy who created the show. He came downstairs and said, yeah, bring him up. And they made an announcement to the staff, the crew who are up and upstairs. Heads up, everybody, Beetlejuice is on the way up. And there's a Beetlejuice on the way up. So just to know, we let him in. So they were really cool. Plus, it was the final weekend of the show, the exhibit, so I think they were lenient.
So this is you in costume?
Yeah, this is me as Beetlejuice. Yep.
Wow.
And It. They had this one area for the movie It, and so they have this one area with all these frightening clowns. Even Beetlejuice is terrified, running away. I like that one a lot. I think it's done, Alan.
So does that guy work in the film industry? That's how he got all the sets?
I don't know his whole background. I think he has worked some in that industry.
And the war enactment is not cosplay, right?
What's that?
We're talking about civil war enactment. That's not considered cosplay.
The what in it?
Civil War enactment. She said she was.
Civil War and X-Men?
No.
Oh, Civil War reenactment.
Oh yeah, no, that wouldn't be considered cosplay. The Civil War
that's not, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like pre-cosplay because those Civil War, the Civil War reenactment groups have been around long before cosplay. So they were kind of the forerunners, sort of. Yeah. They're doing double duty, cosplaying and reenacting. Oh, this was on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, just up the street from it. That night we went to the Tim Burton themed bar, Beetle House in Hollywood. And has anybody been there? It's quite astounding. You go in there and the whole bar is decked out like Tim Burton's films. And they even have entertainers and performers who work there, hired there on weekends to show up as different characters. So we go in there, and at one point it's like everybody's like going crazy, like Beetlejuice, oh my gosh. I go up to the bar and I said, I want to get an IPA, a beer. And the bartender, she said, oh, hold on, I need to talk to my manager, just a second. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess she's got to do something first. She comes back, she's all flustered and embarrassed. She goes, I'm so sorry. I asked my manager, I said, can Beetlejuice have a beer? And he said, well, of course, that guy doesn't work here. Because they hire people sometimes to dress up in Tim Burton characters and then walk around the bar and entertain people. And they thought I was part of the staff. No, the staff member can't drink a beer. So I thought that was cute. I thought she should have given me a free beer for making me wait 10 minutes and then, but no, I had to pay.
Is it called the Tim Burton Bar?
It's called Beetle House, and it's in Hollywood. It's remarkable. They have a restaurant too, but you got to get reservations in advance. It sells out fast. Because I think we've gone through most of these now. We combined Beetlejuice with. Look at Alan added the snow effect. And there's more. And that's Adam who did my makeup and made the wig look better. We ordered a Beetlejuice wig online, but it looked terrible. So he made it look great and glued it to my face. And the alcohol-based makeup, really, it just stayed on all day. I didn't sweat it off or anything. And believe me, the exhibit was hot. They couldn't have. It was really warm in there.
Is there a portal for cosplay that is really, respected, like on the web?
Is there?
A
Oh,
portal, a website or some where people go and say, I'm looking at everything that's, that's.
I guess on Facebook, just type in cosplay and look up some of the cosplay Facebook groups.
Is that so it went already social?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. I can't think of any specific websites to go to. I think Instagram's great. Go to Instagram and go to hashtag cosplay, and a gazillion things will come up and a lot of amazing stuff. So.
There's older groups for older cosplayers as well, over 30, over 40.
Yes, there's an over 40 cosplay group. Type it in on Facebook. I know these people, and usually at the conventions like WonderCon, at Comic-Con, they always hold that, hey, we're going to have an over 30 cosplay photo shoot at Comic-Con on Saturday at noon. Come on out. And that's a lot of fun. Yeah, check that out for sure. This woman, her beard looks so real. It's not, but she was dressed like me, and she was like, this was at the Tim Burton Beetle House bar and restaurant. She's like, I'm the bearded lady, and she was so much fun. She was cracking us up. This girl was so excited to see Beetlejuice. We couldn't believe it. And my friend Julie, who was with us, she said, you better go take a photo with her. And so I got a photo with her, and she was ecstatic. She's like, Mom, I got a photo with Beetlejuice. So anyway, we'll go back to, where were we? So we'll go back to, see if I can't find. I would be able to do this easier had my computer. I'm using somebody's computer here at the library. My computer wouldn't connect with this screen. And so I wasn't able to, and all the photos I had in my, yeah, it's a long story.
How about people that invent their costumes? Is that actually accepted, or is?
Yeah, like that's like Amber creates her own stuff. Yeah. Well, that's totally like that's the thing now, because that's what intimidates people about getting into cosplay. Well, I've never made a costume. I don't know how to build stuff, but nobody cares. It's like if you bought something online and you look good in it, and you're internally representing the character and having fun. Nobody cares. It's like, that's cool, because then sometimes that develops into learning you're meeting other cosplayers and developing friendships, and that turns into learning other skills. Like, I know how to make something look metal out of Eva foam or lucite. I can make you a lucite Iron Man costume or whatever. It just leads to more creativity. So it's pretty inclusive.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, cosplayers accept others. You can admire someone's costume, but don't tell somebody they're doing it wrong or really wrong build features or whatever.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, they did a Project Runway, and they did cosplay, and they followed characters through creating their costumes and then going to the big events like Comic-Con.
Awesome.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
They should do it again.
That's fantastic.
I'm a costume designer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find it all fascinating.
She's a friend of mine, Catherine. She's an amazing.
I will not make your costume.
Yeah.
Make it yourself.
So Alan talked me into be the Joker for a DC Comics photo shoot with all these models, and he had this meetup group with these models, and they do various themes, and then we did. So I said, okay, so the iconic photos. So these are all photos that Alan did and worked on. I get obviously in post, and he makes me look really amazing. And he even made the Joker look like that's my real hair up the top here, where it just looks like Photoshop blended it in. And we both worked on the makeup. And then he added the cityscape behind me, and the gun is fake. But that's the Joker, This was shot at dusk. We shot this in what, Riverside? Yeah. And at dusk, I said, we got to get a photo of me at dusk as the Joker. And I wanted to look very, very dark and very, you know, evil, and he's been defeated, and maybe Batman standing in the alley, but you don't see him. So we did this just at dusk, and then he added the bat stars in the wall behind me and all the blood and stuff like that. So this is as dark as I get with with cosplay. I'm really a nice guy. We actually did have a Batmobile, and our friend showed up as Batman, and that's outside in 85-degree weather in like August, and we're all broiling, but he made it look like it's gloomy, it's Gotham, and it's at night.
Where'd you get the car?
And the car was
It's really there.
it's there, and it was a guy who up in Riverside County who owns was it a welding shop or something like that? He knew one of our models, and so he brought this amazing Tim Burton style Batmobile. Now Alan, in his amazing abilities as an artist, he brings decades of graphic design, airbrush, oil painting, inking, penciling, life drawing into his Photoshop skills, and adds an entire cityscape behind me, because that brick building was behind the car. And then he added the smoke and the bullet holes and the flash out of the machine gun or whatever. So he takes my cosplay to another level. And this was Michael Walborn, another friend of ours who does photos. Then we made this fake poster, and it says Dean LeCrone up top. The Joker, now it's serious.
What are you doing with these are unbelievable artworks.
Thank you.
But what are you doing with
And it's all Alan's photos. These are all,
Yeah.
we have made poster prints of them, which if anybody wants to look through the poster prints, you can look through them. And this has developed me being invited as a cosplayer to various big events, like at Comic-Con this year at the Comic-Con Museum in Balboa Park in San Diego. They had a thing called The Gathering, and they were inducting Batman as their first character into their Comic-Con Museum Hall of Fame. And the Science Fiction Coalition group I'm with that does a lot of cosplay, a bunch of us were handpicked to go to this giant gala, and they wanted me to be the Joker. And so it's led to things like that, being invited to be the Joker at various events and things. So,
You also did a book, didn't you?
What's that?
Didn't you do a book with photographs?
oh, we've done several.
Magazine. We have a magazine.
Yeah, with the Dr. Peepers thing.
Entertainment magazines too, with all this in it.
And is this now what cosplayers do? They have to have posters, like they have somebody like Ellen to do, you know, like I have to have. If I want to be, let's say, a big cosplayer, I have to get Ellen.
This guy's one in a million. This is rare. I'm lucky to have someone in his skills be a partner up with me on various activities. And no, I mean, you don't have to have some spectacular photographer posting your stuff or you yourself. But in this case, this is very unusual to have someone like his skill level.
It's awesome.
Showing off. Yeah, and if you go to afreemanphotography.com, you can see all his work, not just this kind of stuff, but everything he does. It's quite spectacular. And he gets hired professionally for jobs. And so there's the guy who owned the Batmobile. And then these are not Alan's. But anyway, you get an idea of some of the Joker. I can't show that because I don't have those photos now. I'll go see if I can't find. What haven't I found? Oh, Edward Scissorhands. So I really wanted to do Edward Scissorhands. I wanted to go 100%. I really wanted to go 100%. Sorry, folks, this might take a bit to find that Edward photo album. All these, I mostly just post albums with my creativity.
There it is.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So this is me as Edward Scissorhands. I think the first photo was taken by Tara Ziemba, who's an amazing photographer friend of ours in Los Angeles. Cue up, come on. And unfortunately, this photo, I forgot that I was showing off my fingers underneath the fake blades, and so, but it still looks cool. This was Tara's photo of me. And we shot this with his meetup group up in Riverside at a cemetery. And they had no problem with him showing up with all this freaky people in crazy this was a Tim Burton themed photo shoot. Tim Burton themed photo shoot in the middle of summer, and it was blazing hot. Alan bought this Edward Scissorhands costume. Some people have made their own Edward Scissorhands costumes. I've seen them on Instagram, and they're amazing. And then we both teamed up on the makeup. And then I had to redo the makeup on the car on the way over there, so I guess I kind of did it. And we bought it. Alan bought this wig, and it all just came out just. And then I studied and studied the film, and I worked on how Johnny Depp held himself and how the character walked and the mannerisms and just even the posture so that the photos would look even more real, and the expression on my face. I wanted to look completely different from the Joker, and then later Beetlejuice I tried to separate. I tried to do the dive deep as an actor with my cosplay, whereas some people get up and they do talks like this and they go, I'm going to tell you for an hour how I built things, and these are the tools I use. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't, I don't have that extent. But I do cosplay from an actor, from the aspect of disappearing into these characters. She is a model who looks just like Winona Ryder. Her name is Shea now. And this is her playing Lydia from Beetlejuice, and then it's a mashup. Lydia from Beetlejuice meets Edward Scissorhands, and I love that photo, also by Alan. And this is Felina Vi, a model who Alan's worked with many times. She joined us, and now she's playing, who's the Winona's character in Beetlejuice? What's the name of the character? Anyway, that's the Winona Ryder character not from Beetlejuice, from Edward. Shea was wearing the red wedding dress from Beetlejuice, and now this is the Winona Ryder character from Edward. And Alan added the fast-moving scissors and all the hair flying everywhere. That one's we have a poster print of that one too. And there's Shea again in a different costume.
And they're all shot during the day.
And they're all shot during the day. It was maybe, 80 degrees at least in the middle of Riverside at this cemetery. And, people driving by seeing all these weirdos running around this cemetery. And then Alan adds this effect to make it look dark and gothic. And it's it's one of my favorites. I tried to get the poise and the posture just right and internalize it and cocked my head to the side like he did in the film a lot. And was that a mausoleum that building? Yeah, that was at the cemetery. And this one is a wonderful too by Alan, black and white.
How about Rocky Horror Picture Show?
That'd be a good one.
So what's other big shows like Comic-Con is it? But what is?
There's WonderCon in Anaheim. Have you been to WonderCon?
No,
Comic-Con runs WonderCon. It's at the Anaheim Convention Center. I love it even. It's like in the spring. It's in the spring. It's like March. WonderCon. It's much smaller, but still pretty large. It's the Anaheim Convention Center. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. AnimeCon in downtown Los Angeles. That was just this past spring too, right?
Yeah, there's one in Long Beach now too.
Yeah.
And it's all anime carrier?
Yeah, that AnimeCon's huge.
Yeah.
Long Beach has a couple of different comic conventions. Long Beach Comic Con, and then some other name too. Long Beach has a Comic Con. That one's very popular. Check that one out.
Long Beach.
Yeah, Long Beach Comic Con. Yeah.
How many days is that? You said 5 days in San Diego?
San Diego's 5 days, Wednesday night, and then 4 whole days. And then WonderCon's usually 3 days, like Friday through Sunday. And Long Beach is usually, I think, 2 days. And then there's other smaller conventions, but...
What are the prices when you go? Because I know they're pretty expensive in San Diego.
Comic-Con, I get my free pass every year, so I don't know anymore. But Comic-Con's pretty expensive now. What is
$300 almost
for 5 days? Yeah. Yeah. I think
All 5 days?
yeah, something like that. It's maybe $265 for all 5 days. Yeah, or an individual day would be whatever, 50, something like that. But it sells out fast. It sells out like 6 months beforehand.
But the whole show?
Yeah. And over 110,000 people attended Comic-Con this year. And I've been, this was my 30th year at Comic-Con, so I've been going since 1991. And it started in 1973. A guy named Shel Dorf, who was in the comic book industry, created it out of San Diego. And he ended up introducing me to the Southern California Cartoonist Society. I became friends with him, the founder of Comic-Con. But he passed away about 7 years ago, I
We
think.
drove down there just because my granddaughter's so much into this. And
Yeah.
We didn't get in, we didn't have tickets or anything. We just walked around.
Walked around the gas lamp quarter.
Just
If you don't have
watched
tickets to
people.
Comic-Con, drive down, park somewhere near downtown, or take the trolley in and walk around the historic gas lamp downtown district. The Comic-Con has spilled out into that area. They have exhibits out there and stuff for the public.
Everybody has costumes
Yeah.
on, they're walking up and
Yeah.
down the streets.
Yeah, downtown, the gas lamp quarter in San Diego, Fifth Avenue, across the street from the convention center. I'll turn my light on just for this for a minute. It's chaos down there if you go out there in a costume, especially one that they're blown away by. I'm going to show you my steampunk stuff here next in a minute. But I've gone down there as my character, Dr. Artemis Peepers. I've got these wings. I've got a dragon puppet I'm going to show you in a minute.
So that's your
And
character.
yeah, and it's an original character I created with Alan.
Yeah.
And I got stuck downtown one time for almost 2 hours posing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos. It was crazy.
An accident as well,
Yeah.
at the stoplight.
Right. Oh, this one's a good one too. He took a photo of these bushes. Yeah. And okay, what's next? Do I got to show? There's Felina again. So the world of steampunk, which is also kind of cosplay.
Yeah.
So steampunk takes place during like the Victorian era through the Edwardian era, 1837 through like 1915-ish. Steampunk is a popular artistic movement that spans many genres, including fine art, music, performance, fashion, graphics, design, and others. However, the inspiration for the steam-driven industrial utopia filled with Victorian sights, textures, haberdashery, and otherworldly technology was originally born in ink from the masters of science fiction literature, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. Steampunk refers to a subgenre of science fiction and sometimes fantasy that incorporates technology and aesthetic designs inspired by 19th century industrial steam-powered machinery. Quirky and fun, a genre of science fiction, steam-powered technology. It's often set in an alternate futuristic version of 19th century Victorian England, but it can take place anywhere around the world in that time period. Egyptian steampunk, you can do variations on it. It doesn't have to be English steampunk. The steampunk spans cultures and geography. The steampunk future is driven by unusual steam-powered devices. Examples are machines like those in the writing of H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, and TV shows like Doctor Who. So, also, if anybody wants to stick around after I get done talking about the visual, I could show a few video clips too of me as Dr. Peepers and a couple of other fun things. So I discovered, I got into steampunk through Alan. What a surprise! And I just want to, I got some.
So Alan is interested primarily in capturing your creations, right?
Yeah, seems to be.
You like to capture
Yeah.
what they do, yeah.
Yeah, and he's fantastic at it. Yeah, all the nuances and the. I'm going to go to I'm just going to start showing you photos. So, but we do have some fun video clips because Dr. Peepers ended up on television a few times on the Sci-Fi Channel and on the Comet Television Network, which is a cable station dedicated to science fiction films. But we created him in his studio. I went up there for some photo shoot, and then afterwards, probably the DC Comics Photoshoot. And that night, we're goofing around in his apartment up in Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga. And Alan says, I said, oh, you got all this steampunk stuff on. I love this steampunk thing. It's been around for a few years. This is like 2011, I think. And he said, oh, put some stuff on. I put on this trench coat, and it was very cowboy western looking, and this top hat and these glasses. And he goes, Jeepers Creepers, look at those peepers. And like this old song from like 80 years ago, Jeepers Creepers, Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those eyes? He says, "Jeepers creepers, look at those peepers." And I wiggled the glasses. I said, "I'm Dr. Peepers." And so then we created Dr. Artemis Peepers. We gave him a name and a backstory. And he looked very much more of a cowboy western look than what he ended up looking. So over the years I bought things, I did sketches because I'm an artist of what I kind of wanted him to look like. And I bought and pieced things together. And eventually I had a robot arm that I'll show you, and a dragon puppet and wings and these big giant boots. And he ended up looking like he does in these photos. And I'm wearing all that. Alan did about 6 hours worth of Photoshop on top of it, where he layered it with all these, the scarab crawling on my, yeah, we've got poster prints of that, like there it is right there. I ended up creating a Dr. Peepers fan page because I was doing so many events. People were like, "Where can I find photos of you doing this?" I was like, "I'll create a Facebook fan page." So you can look it up on Facebook. You know, Dr. Peepers.
You don't have a website either. You just go on.
We're still in the works of creating a website because people want to buy the poster prints. It's not necessary, but at this point we're starting to sell books and posters and stuff.
You can do this on Facebook too.
Yeah, and I do. And I have business cards if anybody wants to see my work on Instagram and Facebook. They're up here too. This is me on the Sci-Fi Network. Just one of a bunch of photos. All three of these ladies do cosplay, and they're amazing. They make their own costumes, and they're models that Alan has worked with as well. So there's the robot arm I create. So I also hire people to make stuff, and there's a gentleman down in San Diego called Bob Mogg, and I wear this. It's like a robot arm, like, you know, an exoskeleton to make your arm more powerful, you know. So it's made out of household items. And it's got, and that's me wearing it, it's got these LED lights. And it's made of metal, so, and it's very heavy, so I wear it very, but it's fun to wear and walk around, and, you know, and then you see I got these wings, which I also brought in with me. So his name's Bob Mogg. His online name is the Iron Tailor. And you can go to his blog, and he can tell you how to make tons of amazing things. I mean, just all kinds of fun, really cool stuff. And he made this for me. I'm trying to get out of this page. I'm trying to get out of Facebook.
How do you spell his last name?
Bob Mogg. Oh, I'll
M-O-G?
M-O-G.
M-O-G-G.
M-O-G-G, yeah.
Like Philly's font. Well, only less font.
Okay, there we go. I have code. This is the Iron Tailor. Welcome to the world of steampunk design. This blog is mostly costuming and gadgets, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to know how to make stuff like this robot arm or the Dr. Peepers wings, which I can show you, it's all free on here, and he'll tell you how he did it, how he makes it, what materials to use. There's a steampunk convention in San Diego called the Gaslight Steampunk Expo. It just happened a couple weekends ago. It was like the 7th annual or something like that. And it was an Egypt themed this year. And so everybody was showing up in these amazing Egyptian themed steampunk costumes. And so on his blog, he showed people how to make what he was making for his Egyptian themed costumes. And they're just little guides here on how to make whatever you want to make. So go to the Iron Tailor if you really want to learn some really great things to build. Working backpacks, a workhorse, sands, I don't know, just all kinds of stuff. So I wanted to cue that up for sure. Alan, so at Comic-Con, Alan, there was a banner for Game of Thrones, and he created Dr. Peepers, Sundays at 9 on HBO. And I added this to Facebook, and it blew up on my Facebook page. Nobody got to the end of the sentence where I wrote LOL. People were like, "Congratulations, oh my gosh, there's going to be a Dr. Peepers HBO TV series. Oh, it's amazing, way to go." And I wasn't trying to fool anybody as I wrote LOL. And I even think I wrote, "Alan created this banner," you know, but people didn't read the description. They just saw that and went, "Oh, wow." It was so funny. He's great at creating stuff like that. Oh, what's that?
Add noise to it with the microphone.
I'm going to scroll down through some. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get to the Sci-Fi Channel right now, real quick, and then I'm going to show you Drig and the Puppet, the Drabbit. That's at WonderCon at the Anaheim Convention Center. That's a fantastic shot right there at the fountain. Antique gas and steam engine in Vista. Me on a time machine, traveling through time. Ah! Look out! He had the dirigibles up in the sky. That's up at the Heritage Museum. Right? The Heritage House at the name of the museum. It's Kellogg House at the Heritage Museum of Orange County. That's it. I mean, I got my description right there. I'm not even reading my own post. So, and again, Alan took all these. Antique Gas and Steam Engine Museum in Vista is incredible. If you want to see old-timey tractors and machinery, they have, it's like a huge acreage of all this stuff. And it's perfect for steampunk. And that's fun.
And what is the gender role? So, the women, obviously they are, but it seems like there's a lot of men are the stars, kind of.
No,
it's
it's anything, anyone. That's actually very liberating. Is that something?
The women are just as much into steampunk as the guys. It's even Steven, yeah. I mean, because we have women who are with the San Diego Costume Guild, who are members of the San Diego Steampunk Society, and they just show off the most amazing costumes. They love it, yeah.
No, I wasn't asking about that it's a war or something. I was just interested in, perhaps women are not into that.
Oh, got it.
So are women more into it or guys anyway?
I don't know. It seems to be half and half. I think it's just as equal.
A lot of the women dress up
Yeah.
like the guys.
Yeah. And then there's gender crossing. Yeah, guys will be, yeah. So at WonderCon, there's all kinds of fun stuff at the steampunk conventions. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. So everything is, because
Yeah.
you're tweaking reality.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So somebody a couple of years ago said, Dean, you're on the cover of the Orange County Register, and it says hashtag winning at WonderCon, and I was like, what? So I ended up on the cover of. That was fun, and that's the whole cover, the full cover of it. So a few years ago during Comic-Con, see if I can find those photos. I may have to scroll back up to show you some of that other stuff. But I want to talk about the Sci-Fi Channel appearance, because it was just a fluke. So a few years ago at Comic-Con, I went, there's preview night. Wednesday night is preview night at Comic-Con. It's just a few hours. You go to the convention and see preview night for 3 hours. Not many people really dress up for preview night. It's not really a cosplay night. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, big days. And I always go down Wednesday early in the day and just hang out in the Gaslamp Quarter, get a bite to eat, and then I go across the road at 5 o'clock when the convention hall opens. And I thought, this year I'm going to go down there in my Dr. Pepper's costume. Yeah, I'm going to walk around. And I'm like, why? No. And I loaded it. My intuition was like, yes, do it. Okay, I loaded it in my car and I drove down there, and I'm at the Hard Rock Hotel across from the convention center, and I'm eating, and I'm like, I should just wear the costume and go over there. But why? Nobody dresses up. I don't know. My intuition was like, do it. So I go over there, and right away, a film crew approaches me and says, oh my gosh, finally somebody in a costume. I hadn't even walked in yet. I'm outside on the sidewalk, and everybody's in line getting ready to go in. We're from the Sci-Fi Channel. Can we interview you? And they interview me, and they go, well, we're nominating you for the Sci-Fi Channel Weirdly Awesome Costume Contest that we're doing with in conjunction with the Trolley Candy Company. I said, Trolley that make the gummy worms and everything? Yeah. I said, wow, cool. Meet us tomorrow morning out in front of the Hard Rock Hotel because we're going to bring a bunch of nominees together and film you doing stuff. I was like, okay. So the next day I go there and I hang out with them, and they film us dancing around or something. And then that was it. For the next 2 or 3 days, I got on Facebook and said, you can vote for me. And I told all my Facebook friends, vote for me, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, so me and Alan and a friend of ours who's a cartoonist from LA who stays with us every year, we're laughing the whole week. We're like the 53-year-old the old dude in the steampunky costume's not gonna win. It's gonna be all the young, cool, cool hip kids and the young ladies and the young guys, Yeah, but it was fun. But I kind of forgot about it. So Friday night, I missed a phone call. We're all hanging out. We all had a long day at Comic-Con. This is several days after the interview with the Sci-Fi Channel. And I get this phone message, hey, this is so-and-so with the Sci-Fi Network. You're one of the finalists. And if you'd like to be on the show, come on over Saturday morning to the Marriott next door to the convention center. And yeah, if I want to be on the show. Okay, but I'm kind of busy. Of course I'm not busy. So I told these guys and we're like, what? The old guy in the steampunk costumes, one of the finalists? There were like 8 finalists or something. So the next day, at whatever time, noon, we all march over to the Marriott, and I'm in the lobby, and we're waiting for all the finalists. And then some guy from the Sci-Fi Channel goes, okay, Dean, you're Dean, right? Dean, come with me, and you 2 ladies should come with me too. And you other people, you'll be brought up later, including Alan and his son and a friend of ours. They said, no, they're gonna go, your friends will go up with the rest of the so-called finalists. And so the 3 of us, we go up in an elevator, and it opens up into this big green room, and it's a Sci-Fi Channel green room. I'm like, what? It's this room here, and, well, it was that room I showed you. Remember that photo I showed you of me sitting in the Sci-Fi? Anyway, I can't get to it now because of this. Anyway, so we go, wait. Where's everybody else? And he goes, okay, you 2 were the 3 finalists. And now I'm like, I could win this thing. But I'm still thinking, what? No. And these 2 ladies were dressed pretty cool. The one especially was dressed amazing. She was dressed like a character from video game. My son played it for years. Link is the character in it. The Legend of Zelda. She was in something from Legend of Zelda. and I thought, she's going to win it. Whatever, okay. There's 3 of us. I'm excited. I'm in the green room. And the Sci-Fi Channel does a live from Comic-Con show every year. And this year, comedian actor Will Arnett, who's been in all kinds of stuff, comedies and movies and SNL and stuff like that.
I have to go. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Yeah, feel free to contact me. He's hosting this year, and they have special guests from movies and TV shows, and we're up there, and they're going to bring us out at the end of the show, and he's going to announce the winner, and we're going to be on live television across the entire country. And I'm sitting there, what was going on? I'm the middle-aged guy, and everybody else is young and hip and cool, and you know what I mean. But so Will Arnett gets out there, and I can show you the video clip too. He gets out there and says, and let's bring out the 3. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Dean, he mispronounces my name, Dean LeCrone, and so and so and so and so. And the winner of this year's Weirdly Awesome Costume Contest, Dean LeCrone. And it's LeCrone, but okay. and the camera zooms in on me, and I'm like, what? And when we went out on stage, Alan and his son and the other contestants were out there to this huge audience of people. And they were out there for like hours, sitting through the dress rehearsal, through everything, boiling hot. And the camera zooms in on me. I'm like, what? Meanwhile, my mom and dad, I'm from Nebraska, they're in Nebraska watching it live. And my mom said, your dad hasn't jumped up like that in years. He jumped up and was like, yeah! Woo! My son's not a loser after all. They don't think that. Not anymore. So I won, and then he goes, here's what you win. So this is even more hilarious, because they gave a car away on the show earlier in the week or something. I didn't get a car. I got a big, giant unicorn head made out of trolley candies covered in resin, so it was hard, and on a plaque. Somebody got a car that week. I've been toiling away at Comic-Con for 30 years as an unknown cartoonist, slaving away in costumes, hundreds of countless hours a day, and I get it was really awesome, seriously. It was just funny when we found out later somebody won a car. But it was really great. I couldn't believe it. And the Trolley Candy Company representatives were awesome. So this is, Will Arnett is bringing us out on stage. Oh, and they had a fog machine. They're like, okay, when they say go through these curtains and then just run out there. And I could see there's fog everywhere. I don't even know how far the stage goes. I'm thinking I'm gonna fall off the stage, hit a cameraman, kill some people. But I ran out there, I'm like, and all of a sudden there's these people screaming, wah, wah, woo. And so here we are, we just came out on stage. And Alan's in the audience. Alan's in the audience taking all these photos. Alan's in the audience taking all these photos. And they told him not to take photos, but he's just like, click, click, click. And so this thing is huge. I almost brought it today, but I wouldn't have been. And it is a nice plaque, and it says Trolley Candy Company, weirdly awesome costume winner. And then there I am, yay! And he's like, way to go. Then I made the mistake of trying to chew the horn off because I thought, oh, it's gummies. And some guys are down below going, yeah, eat the horn, eat the horn, eat the. And nobody could hear it but me. I was like, I'm going to eat this horn. And in the video, it looks really dumb. I start gnawing on this horn. Right? And all of a sudden I realized, this is hard as a rock. It's made of resin. It tastes like glue. What are you doing? You look like an idiot. Because finally Will Arnett went, okay, calm down with the chewing on the horn. Then I had to put it down. It was like so cumbersome. And I'm like, yay. And then afterwards, we did a big photo shoot in the green room. And I met the staff of the Trolley Candy Company. And somebody later said, dude, you're all over the Sci-Fi Channel and Trolley Candy Company's social media. Go, you're everywhere. And my Facebook exploded and people were calling me. Friends of mine I went to high school with in Nebraska were like, this is my friend Dean. He's on national television. I went with him to high school and back when he was in. So then they had a post-live show every night with these two hosts. And I'm just forgetting their name. But yeah. And so we had a post-interview. And this was live. This was live as well. And these two are very popular in pop culture as hosts of different things. Forgive me, their names are slipping my mind. I was going to write them down. But they were so nice, and they interviewed me about winning Comic-Con, the Weirdly Awesome Costume Contest. And I said, well, I've been coming to this for 30 years. And I'm just an unknown cartoonist. And they were like, what? That's so cool. So I've also had a couple of Dr. Pepper's Halloween parties that were down in San Diego that were real popular. That's the posters. Those are the posters for them back there. It was the annual Dr. Pepper's Halloween parties. And then over here, some people have been starting to do fan art. That's why I created the Dr. Pepper's fan page, because like people are actually doing fan art. And the Halloween parties were held at an art gallery that me and Catherine, my friend Catherine, loved to death. It's no longer open. Art Beat on Main Street Gallery. They were wonderful to let me have a Halloween party there 2 years in a row. At WonderCon this year, Alan and I splurged a company called Doob, D-O-O-B. You can go and have them do a 3D version of yourself, and they'll print 3D versions of yourself, and they printed a 3D version of Dr. Pepper's. Isn't that crazy? We couldn't believe how realistic it looked. And they do that. They'll Doob. They have some shops in Los Angeles and in San Diego, some storefronts, and you can just go into this big giant booth, and then they got like 50, 70 cameras, and they take photos of you, and then they do a 3D printing of it. This cost, what was it, $600? And then they ship it to you like 3 weeks later. And it's amazing and astonishingly how realistic it looks.
You call it D-O-O-B?
D-O-O-B. People have done it with families, like a whole family of their dog, 3D printing of their dog. Yeah, D-O-O-B.
When it comes out of the process, it's color.
Yeah, as it's printing, it's coloring at the same time. It's pretty amazing. It's really incredible. I know. I want to show you Driggin the Drabbit. This is Driggin. This is Driggin. He's very realistic looking. Now, when I wear the costume, I have these cords hidden under the trench coat. He was created by Imaginarium Galleries. You can buy these from them. I'm doing a plug because they deserve it. They have little ones for $40, and then they have big ones like this for $800 or $900. And Alphonse Alfaro is the guy who made this one. He founded the company. His sons, I think, run it now. They usually have booths at Comic-Con, Ren Fair. We go to Ren Fair here in Los Angeles for Time Travelers Weekend. It's a special weekend where steampunks are invited to hang out. But so he's very realistic looking. He's more popular than my character is. People are like, oh, what's that on your shoulder? Some people freak. You go, oh my gosh. Driggin. He's a drabbit. He's half dragon, half rabbit. Yeah, that's what they call him on their website. They call them drabbits, Imaginarium galleries. So this has become part of the character and the persona. So, but it's great because I hide the cable cords and I hide my arm and I do a little sleight of hand where people can't tell. Well, how is he moving his head? And I'll go, I don't know. I'll bring my hand up again and pet him. And then the hand will disappear. So it's a fun sleight of hand to do.
Has it ever fallen off?
What's that?
Has it ever fallen off?
Yeah, not all the way though. I have straps and when I wear these, the wings, there's these straps that come over my shoulder and I put them over so he'll sometimes slide this way, but I'll adjust myself and he'll be back up. It's kind of an art form. I've gotten used to doing this. But I'll show you the ORT report. So Comet Television, they had me do a promo for their network. They're a television cable network that shows a lot of old sci-fi films and old sci-fi TV shows. So this is kind of cute. And I have this annual Halloween party I do every year. They filmed me doing this at WonderCon. Here we go. I will start it, okay.
Welcome to the ORT Report.
Hello, I'm Ort, your expert in human endeavor analysis. But I'm not changing the lining in the office trash cans. In today's cosplay corner, I'll be analyzing Dean L.
I'm dressed up as an original steampunk character that I created, Dr. Artemis Peepers.
Well, using my peepers, I assess your cosplay is impressive enough for a rating of 3 aliens.
Dr. Peepers is a steampunk superhero.
Steampunk is a sci-fi genre combining steam-powered technology with the aesthetic of the Victorian era.
I even hold an annual Dr. Peepers Halloween party.
A party.
It's gonna be rocking. It's gonna be great.
Is it? Is it really? So sorry, it seems I missed the RSVP cutoff. I guess your invitation got lost in the mail. Keep watching Comics Photoshoot.
I love that. Isn't that neat? They made a Dr. Peepers. Isn't that cool? They made a Dr. Peepers invitation sitting in the trash. So, okay, I'll show you that Comic Con. Sorry, this takes a bit. I also did an animated that animated thing that I did character designs for a short animated web series. And then I portrayed an alien. I'm in a YouTube TV show, web series called Majestic 12. I play several different characters, including that alien there and that weird character in the purple jacket. It's written and directed by comedian Jeff Thill, whom Alan and I are working on a short film with next weekend called Motherlode, a short sort of science fiction, sci-fi, suspense, X-Files type of a film. So anyway, here I'll show you the sci-fi appearance. It's 3 minutes in length. It's not very long. Oh, after an ad.
That is gorgeous stuff. You guys are all awesome. All right, and now let's bring out our deliciously sweet first place trophy. Coming up here. All right, take a look. Yeah. Careful coming up, you guys. Real careful. Now, listen. Here's the deal. Everyone looks great, okay? But we ran the numbers and we have ourselves a winner. And the Trolley's weirdly awesome costume contest champion is Dean LeCrone. Chilling honor to bestow upon you this 20-pound unicorn head made of totally covered in worms. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. And for our second place winner, Isis, please. Isis is our second place winner.
And she wasn't. She wasn't. It was she went to the wrong girl. They went to the wrong girl. He was so scared of her. Oh my God, I know, terrible.
Congratulations. Check out all the other weirdly awesome costumes. Head on over to petroli.com. And to the cosplayers out there, keep up the good cause. Thanks again to Dave G, Tony, Mercedes Mason, Andre Meadows for talking to con with me. Up our sleeves, the other ones on the production recording. We'll be right back.
Yeah, if you guys had to go, I can end it. I can wrap it up now if you want to. If anybody wants to look at my artwork or anything, or take a look at Driggin' the Drabbit. Thanks for coming.